Hello guys, welcome to part 5 of the Sekiro walkthrough and welcome back to my channel. In this part, we have some really important stuff to do, and right from the start, we are going to fight the first main boss of the game. But before we jump into that, I think I need to explain one of the game mechanics a bit more. I honestly do not remember exactly if this mechanic existed in other From Software games or not, but in Sekiro and Elden Ring, follow-up attacks are one of the core mechanics. They make combat smoother, more aggressive, and way more fun. For example, in Elden Ring, things like guard counter or some Ashes of War work with this exact mechanic. In Sekiro, there are also several skills built around follow-up attacks. In the previous part, we unlocked a skill called Grappling Hook Attack. This skill allows us to land extra attacks right after using the grappling hook. And if you remember our fight with the Chained Ogre, there were several moments where the grappling hook icon appeared on his head. But because we did not have this skill unlocked at that time, we could not attack him after grappling. Now, for the first main boss we are about to face, this skill is going to be extremely important. Some skills in the prosthetic art skill tree also count as follow-up attacks. Skills like Chasing Slice, Projected Force, and Living Force. Each one of these skills allows you to perform a follow-up attack after using specific Shinobi tools. So right after using the related tool, you can press R1 or your attack button and immediately perform a follow-up attack. Special thanks to this poor guy who, while crying his eyes out over his beloved horse, accidentally gave us a really useful tip. It looks like his horse had a heart attack after hearing the sound of gunpowder and sadly passed away. Now, among our Shinobi tools, the Shinobi Firecrackers can sort of simulate that gunpowder sound. And guess what? That sound happens to be the exact weakness of the first main boss standing in front of us. In the game, pretty much all animals panic when they hear the sound of Shinobi Firecrackers, and they get stunned for a short time.
とたびは退けたが、ナイフの軍はあまりに強大だ。
それゆえ我が血を流因の力を利用するというのですか。いかに力を得るとでも、痛みも恐れも忘れ戦い続けるの。私は人の生き方を歪めたくはないの。
この屍の山を見ろ。もはや尋常のすべては足に守る。
私は健一郎殿ほど強く何をなすべきか。
あれから随分と経つ。待ったとて無駄なことだ。
Now it is time to fight Gyoubu Masataka Oniwa, the first main boss of the game. Even though he is a main boss, this fight is actually pretty easy. The strategy for Gyoubu is very simple. In phase 1, use the Shinobi Firecrackers to stun the horse he is riding, then land a few hits on him. Just do not get greedy. Whenever you see the grappling hook icon above his head, use it. And with the skill we unlocked, land 2 follow-up attacks. And just like that, phase 1 is over. Now in phase 2, you need to be a bit more careful when using the firecrackers. After his horse gets stunned, Gyoubu can jump toward you with his spear from the air, so keep an eye on that attack. Sometimes, he also starts spinning his spear, and right at that moment the grappling hook becomes available. You have 2 good options here. You can either deflect his spear attacks or grapple straight to him, fly toward him like a maniac, stun him again, and land 2 more attacks. He also has a few perilous attacks, like sweep and thrust, but they are pretty rare. Honestly, I barely saw them in this part of the game.
Gyoubu Masataka Oniwa.
After defeating Gyoubu, a few new game features get unlocked for you. Every time you defeat a main boss in Sekiro, you receive that boss's memory. By turning that memory into a remnant, you permanently increase your attack power by 1. In Sekiro, this is the only normal way to increase your attack power. You can only do it by defeating main bosses and collecting their memories. There is another method, but it only becomes available much later in the game, and we will talk about that when the time comes. After beating Gyoubu, you also obtain the mechanical barrel. With this item, and with the help of the sculptor, you can start upgrading your Shinobi Tools. Another really cool feature that unlocks is Reflection of Strength. This mode allows you to fight any main boss you have already defeated as many times as you want. It is purely for practice. There are no rewards if you win, and no penalties if you lose. You do not gain anything, and you do not lose anything. Even the items you use during these fights are returned to your inventory afterward. So, you can practice freely, learn the boss patterns, and get better with zero risk.
こんな死者が言うさ。
If you die multiple times in the game, at some point, a cutscene will suddenly play. Right after that, you will notice that some NPCs have been infected with Dragonrot. When Dragonrot spreads in your world, the quest lines of those NPCs get paused unless you cure the disease. To cure Dragonrot, you need an item called Dragon's Blood Droplet. With the help of Emma and by collecting blood samples from infected NPCs, she will give you an item called the Recovery Charm. Once you have this item, a new option appears in the Sculptor's Idol menu called Dragonrot Restoration. By using one Dragon's Blood Droplet, you can cure Dragonrot for all infected NPCs at once. Dragon's Blood Droplet has another use as well. It can unlock your resurrection nodes again if they are locked, but it cannot fully restore a resurrection node that has already been consumed. That is something only the bundled Jizo statue can do, so use it wisely.
Shishokoi.
ネズミがもう一匹。いや、その目、飢えた狼か。切る前に名を聞いてやる。名乗りわしに名乗る名などないか。忍びは大概そうじゃ。名乗らず死におる。じゃが、その左腕、忍び義手とは懐かしい。なるほど。石腕の狼か。気に入ったぞ。ならば、セキロ、お主をそう呼ぼう。
お前は何だ。
わしはアシナの天狗よ。おうセキロ、お主もネズミ狩りをせぬか。
何だと。
このアシナにはネズミが入り込んでおる。うじゃうじゃと我が物顔でな。ネズミもいろいろじゃが、それを片端から切り捨てるのよ。どうやらお主にも人斬りの才がある。その才を磨くのに役立とう。どうじゃセキロ、ネズミ狩りをせぬか。
承知した。
よし、セキロよ。ならばこれをくれてやる。 ネズミの顔、それと巣穴じゃ。切ってまいれ。さすればお主の戦に役立つものをやろう。
狼殿では
This area is one of the best early game spots to farm XP, Sen, and some really good items, like pellets and Gachin's sugar. This section is also directly related to the questline of Tengu of Ashina. He asked us to kill the rats of Ashina, and these three enemies right here are exactly the rats he was talking about.
一身の病、やはり重いようじゃ。たとえ源一郎がおれど、アシナの国長くはなさそうだの。してもう一つの任は、城の蛇谷の側が黒笠で騒がしいようじゃ。ならば次はそちらよ。だが最新にな、黒笠の無事な生中にはやれぬぞ。
By killing them, Tengu will reward us with the third skill tree text. On top of that, the fourth skill tree text is also in Tengu's hands. But he will only give it to us later in the game, and only if we have fully mastered at least one skill tree. That is why, in this part of the game, I need to do a bit of farming. We are going to need the money to buy two important items later on, and I also want to make sure we will be able to get that fourth skill tree text when the time comes. You can farm here as much or as little as you want. As for me, I am going to farm until I feel comfortable about buying those two items and securing the fourth skill tree text.
おう、ネズミを飼ったようじゃな。おう、やはりお主には人斬りの才がある。よし、褒美じゃ、取っておけ。これは芦名流じゃ。流派というても堅苦しい決まり事などない。ただ戦に勝つ、その一時を至上とする剣よ。ネズミ狩りに何よりお主の戦に役立てるがいい。
本当にあれを戦に使うつもりかのう。ああ、だが仕方なかろうて。アシナは今や存亡の危機。なりふりなど構っておれぬで。じゃが、ちゃんとせえちゃんとは。一度怒れば、
As the final part of this episode, we are going to fight a bowl called Blazing Bowl. But honestly, I feel like his name should be Bowl because this is a really frustrating boss fight. We are forced to fight a bowl in a very tight area, and on top of that, his hands deal fire damage. After all these hours of playing Sekiro, I still have not figured out the proper way to fight this bowl. To be fair, at this point in the game, when we only have our sword and limited tools, this fight can be rough. But in New Game Plus, with upgraded Shinobi Tools, this actually becomes one of the easiest mini-bosses in the game. Since this boss is a bowl, Shinobi Firecrackers will definitely stun him. Just make sure you do not spam the Firecrackers. Wait around 30 to 40 seconds between each use, because the game will not let you spam them anyway. And since this boss deals fire damage, make sure to boost your fire resistance and try to avoid fighting him head-on as much as possible. Alright guys, that danger barely missed us and this section is officially over. Once again, I talked a bit too much in this part, so yeah, sorry about that. I will see you in the next section. Take care of yourselves and I will catch you very soon.